Hello, all. Spot of Nerd here, and we're going to talk very briefly because it's something that I could get myself into either a lot of trouble or I can inspire. Hopefully, that's the more better option. But I want to get uncomfortable because I want to talk about disabled. I want to talk about the disabled. I want to talk about disability. I want to talk about accessibility. I want to talk about all the above. And the reason, we're not just going to talk about it here and then stop. We're going to talk about it for a long time in the future. And I've even discussed it in the past, specifically on the mental health, my own physical ailments, and everything in between. So, right out of the gate, I am disabled. I have documentation, I have state and government liabilities in terms of, I do have certain accommodations because of the health conditions that I'm in. But what it comes down to is I'm getting real pissed off with the way in which society and the world treats it. So I'm going to use a couple examples, and specifically one that happened to me just a few nights ago that, let's just say, wasn't the most pleasant. But the bottom line is, being disabled does not mean you are in a wheelchair. It does not mean that you have maybe some other condition that I don't even want to, again, I don't even want to say that makes you look, quote, normal. There is no such thing as normal. We are all different. We're all humans. We all have our own DNA. So when somebody or somebodies, plural, and I've asked this consistently for some reason lately, that when I park in a disability or in a disabled parking spot because I have the placard, because I am legally able to park in said spot, mind your fucking business. At least once a week, if not more, I am asked, do you know that's a handicap spot? Hey, is there a reason you're parking in the handicap spot? Yeah, because I'm fucking handicapped. Now, obviously, I'm fired up because, again, I kind of hit, I guess, the head, what's that metaphor when you hit your wall, I guess? But it was almost in a good way because, cut a very long story short, simple shopping trip to Safeway. I park in a disabled parking spot, which I am legally obliged to, and this is where I gotta be careful because I have a job. This person decided to yell not only profanities, but just, let's just say, addressing, do you know that's a handicap spot? Now, I won't tell you what I said because that will definitely get me either kicked off of social media and likely fired. But let's just say that I put this gentleman in his place. Hypothetically, allegedly, I might have used words that were explicit and revolving around being, you know, a spigot. You know, you can kind of get where I'm going with that. But it was one of those moments, especially in my life. And I'm going to be very clear, I am not putting myself anywhere near a level that maybe somebody in a worse condition might be, or, and let's be real. There are people out there that really, they are it can be challenging. Let's just say that. Maybe there are those folks that really do. They've lost a limb in a war and they're, I don't again, it's such a if I wasn't I'm only laughing. If I wasn't employed, I almost feel like I could just openly talk about this. And maybe I can. Clearly, I might just be overthinking it. But the bottom line is, it doesn't take down or it doesn't minimize, I guess, my own disability. Because, again, I have multiple issues, physically, mentally, etc., that do bring me more challenges throughout the day than, quote, a healthier individual. It doesn't make them better. It doesn't make me better. It doesn't make them worse. It doesn't make me worse. We are all humans, as I've said. We all have a story to tell. We are all unique and we are all pretty badass. But the discrimination and the harassment is complete and absolute bullshit. Now, again, that you can take that into many different levels and many different ways and so on and so forth. But again, let's get uncomfortable with this because I think, especially now, the way the world is, it doesn't matter what subject it might be, we are literally tiptoeing around everything, and it is time to stop. And so again, the interaction I had with this gentleman the other night, let's just say I put a stop to it. I didn't attack this gentleman. I want to be very clear. There was no violence. There was no physical altercation. It was just a simple verbal exchange in which I made sure that this person understood that just because I am not in a wheelchair or potentially missing a limb, etc., does not mean I am not disabled and eligible to park in a disabled parking spot. It is like Transformers. It is more than meets the eye. Being disabled, I guess, in my eyes, and I don't mean to say I guess, I actually know this. I'm actually passionate and I feel proud almost to be in the condition that I am. Because if anything, it makes me, I don't want to, I hope this isn't don't take this the wrong way, I guess, but it makes me almost better. And I don't mean that in I am better than you or better than what, again, what I'm getting at is it just means that I can appreciate more. I can be passionate more. I can be more thankful or, I can be more real. I think that is the greatest gift that I've obviously given to this world. For anybody that's ever gotten to know me on a deeper level, you know that I am probably the most real, blunt, honest person that you will ever meet. And I also do not show hardly any emotion. If anything, I really, God, I wish I could show more. I almost am envious of people that can cry because I do know for a fact that crying, it increases endorphins and it releases stress and everything in between. And dear God, it takes a lot for me to cry. It really does. And again, the way I am physically and mentally, I'm proud of it because it does. It shows the strength of what I have to go through every single fucking day. So when people think that I'm negative or when people think that I'm miserable or when people think that I just look at the bad side of things, the politics and media, etc., so on and so forth, it's no. What it comes down to is that my eyes are open. I'm not being controlled. I'm not a mind zombie, you know, just completely, you know, listening to everything that social media says or TV says. No, I'm looking at what I see. I'm taking a step back, thinking about what it is before I move and take that step forward. We'll call it being cautious. So cautious, shall we say. And it's again, I want to be very clear. I'm not better, because that's not the right word. It's the only word I can think of. But it does make me appreciate more, like I've said. And what I'm trying to get at there is really, somebody might come up to me and say, like, oh, I've had a headache, or my arm hurts, or this or that. And yeah, you're a human. That's gonna happen. I think for me, what I'm trying to get the point across is bad things are gonna happen in your life. Things are gonna happen in your life that are not positive. It could be an injury, it could be something in your life without, having to do with your body or your health. It can be an event of some kind, etc. But I think what it comes down to, just kind of going full circle, talking about disabilities and accessibilities, is to really take a step back and just figure out that you're actually doing probably much better than most. You probably have food on your table. You have warm water coming out of the faucet. You have clean water coming out of your faucet. You have a bed. You have a roof. You probably are listening to this on a $1,500 device, $1,000 cell phone. So I guess, yeah, that is really what I'm getting at, is I'm not diminishing troubling times. I'm really not. But what I am saying is there are those of us around the world that sometimes have to fight harder. That doesn't make us any better. It doesn't make us any more special. It just means that sometimes you might have to meet us halfway. And that is why, you know where I'm going, broken record moment here with Spot of Nerd. That's why it's been such the most amazing transformation the last year and a half, where I've discovered to be alone, is because I've realized that the more I let somebody else in, and that includes family, that includes friends, and yes, that includes girlfriends, I just do nothing but expel energy. And I literally put so much of me and so much of my aura and my soul into these people that I look now at my life and I realize, holy shit, I am on fumes. I don't even know, I don't even have any fumes left. Again, I've talked about this in previous episodes, YouTube, etc. Suicide is definitely something I've battled many times, and to this day I still do. Depression and, the thoughts of suicide, etc. And it's incredibly challenging. But I'm learning now. And I'm learning with situations, especially just something as simple as using a disabled pass to park my vehicle. If you came to me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have been embarrassed. I would have felt guilty. I would have had all these kind of really negative feelings about it. But that's changed, and it's changed for the better, because I now use that pass, something so simple in life, the ability to park in a disabled pass or in a disabled spot, because I can. Not because I want to, not because I deserve it, but because I can. Because I have gone through enough now, and I have enough health problems that designates me disabled, that now I am able to park in these spots. I can have a better life. So that when I've gone and I've done an 8-hour day of work, and I know that after work I need to potentially do, let's say, some shopping for food or whatever it might be, My pain scale is already at a 12 out of 10 after 8 hours of work. The less I can walk, the better. So yeah, I'm gonna park in those spots because I have had multiple doctors, multiple specialists, multiple treatments, multiple diagnostics, multiple everything known in the medical field that has determined I am disabled. And if there is a problem with that, then I will make sure you are aware that that is your problem. Again, I want to be very clear. That does not mean I'm going to condone any sort of violence, physically, verbally, etc. But I am simply going to address the fact that it is none of your fucking business. And if you want to make it my business, I will simply say this. I would encourage you to do some research. That being disabled does not mean that you are in a wheelchair or some other ailment that might physically look as if somebody might be non-disabled, shall we say. Clearly, I'm very passionate. Again, I've said this, broken record. And I want to be clear. I want to make sure I'm not meaning any ill will towards anybody. I'm not even trying to, say these interactions that I've had have resulted in me going down a negative path or this or that. And obviously I'm just over dramatizing the event I had while shopping. Again, just having the conversation. And I hope, because I did, just to kind of make sure, again, there's no if, ands, or buts, but the conversation I had with this gentleman, I really do hope woke his eyes up. And I think if anything, that's what I'm trying to get at, is just have that conversation that, guess what? Just because I'm getting out of my vehicle doesn't mean I'm also not disabled. Now, obviously, we both came to a mutual understanding. No ill will was had. But again, I'm not going to tiptoe around it anymore. Somebody said the other day, I was sharing this with a friend, that said, did you, quote, put them in their place? Verbally, sure. But I would never go any other route because I don't think that's necessary. When you see these politicians that want to promote violence, they actually they want you to burn down cities and all this other media garbage. It's if there's one thing I'm trying to do with this podcast and this YouTube channel, whether I'm talking about nerdiness or whether I'm talking about something else, is I am trying to be the opposite voice and to tell you that violence is so not the answer, and we need to start talking to each other because, by God, we used to do it. We used to have critical thinking skills with each other, even if you had a different opinion. So if anything, I challenge you to try and communicate something to somebody that maybe might be on a different level than you, on a different opinion than you, and just try to get that across. Try to get them to understand it's okay. You can have your opinion, I can have my opinion, you can be your way, I can be my way, and it's totally okay. It's really not rocket science. But the bottom line is, and I'll just wrap this episode up. Just because you're disabled doesn't mean you get to treat us different. We are just like you. We are human beings, and we deserve respect. And if you don't give it to us, then quite frankly, you're kind of a piece of shit. If you look down on us, you're kind of a piece of shit. I dare you to get to know us. Promise you we're not going to bite. We're probably some pretty cool people. I don't know. That's just me. It's just my opinion. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you all so much for listening, and I really do hope you kind of get something from this in a positive way. I know we all have friends and we have family, and we see people every day. We're all made different. We're all unique in our own God's eye. So just just be better overall. All of us, I think, is the message I want to get through this podcast. Let's just try to be better. Let's try to be better human beings. 2 plus 2 still is 4. That hasn't changed. We can still go back to what it was. I do genuinely have faith we can go back to being different, but at the same time equal. I'm one of those weird people that think it's still possible, and it still exists to this day, no matter what the TV says or your social media troll says. As much as they want to divide, good luck, because I'm going to make sure you realize that we're all the same. But again, with that said, please, if you would be ever so kind, throw me those comments, the likes, the follows, the subscribing. If you love what you heard, let me know. I'd love to, if you want to keep talking about it, if maybe there was something I spoke about that you want to talk more about, let's do it. If you didn't like it, or if you think I'm just some asshole, then thanks for listening. Really do appreciate it. We will talk to you guys next time. Later, y'all.